Texas was hit by an unprecedented storm. Where are Victor and John, who went out looking for Charlie? In the morning, Victor woke up and casually grabbed some chocolate and a book. He sat leisurely on a chair, having breakfast. He opened the book and quickly flipped through a few pages. Victor picked up binoculars and walked outside. A flood caused by the storm had trapped Victor here. Faint traces of roads could still be seen in the water. Not far from here, John was up early cutting down trees, worried about his girlfriend Naomi's safety. He attempted to make a makeshift raft to escape from the area. Neither John nor Victor knew how to swim. Occasionally, zombies crawled towards them, but John, despite his gunshot wound to the abdomen, could manage to deal with them. Victor watched John making the raft but didn't offer any help. John said his raft would be enough to hold them. It would take weeks for the current to dry up. Victor argued that he had enough rations to get by and didn't need to take risks. He didn't want to jeopardize their last safe haven. He refused to get on the small raft. John could only say that he would come back for Victor once he found Naomi. By the afternoon, John had prepared to leave. He extended the invitation to Victor once again, asking if he was sure he didn't want to come with him, as it was the last chance. Victor said he would not go, but he would sit and watch John. John ignored Victor and dragged the raft into the water, stepping onto it, and Victor doesn't hold back on his jeers. Suddenly, Victor's expression changed as something seemed to swim towards them from the distance.
John!
Startled, John fired his gun, and the water surface calmed down again. John quickly ran back to shore. The situation became even more serious as the gunshot attracted zombies from afar. But as the zombies approached, they vanished, as the alligators didn't spare even the zombies. Although it was incredibly dangerous, John still wanted to attempt an escape. Victor suggested that if John built the boat, he could create noises to attract zombies into the water and divert the attention of the alligators, allowing John to pass safely. Soon, John found an abandoned car not far away. Its rear cover could be modified into a sturdy boat. After a series of modifications by John, the car's rear cover had undergone a transformation. John found Victor again. Victor has nothing in the world that he's attached to, so thinks he has nothing to fight for. John persuaded Victor to leave with him. Victor said that if he left too, who would create the noises? John took out a megaphone from his hand and also removed the battery from the car so that he could continuously create sounds. John said, "You have to learn to believe in fighting for tomorrow. Come with me." Victor smiled bitterly and accepted John's proposal. They smiled at each other again. Perhaps Victor was infected by John's positive outlook. John set up the horn and quickly went to the other direction to get ready with Victor. As soon as zombies approached the water, they synchronized their actions and pulled the boat into the water.
Now.
Within moments, 3 or 4 zombies had entered the water, and the alligators launched their attack. They paddled quickly to the opposite shore and everything was going in a good direction. However, the sound from the speaker on the shore gradually faded, indicating that the battery had run out. The zombies near the shore turned and headed in the opposite direction. This was awkward as they were right in the middle of the water. John's oars fell because of the pain from his wounds, and then the bottom of the boat was also attacked. In desperation, John fired 3 shots into the water, momentarily calming the situation. However, the alligators' repeated attacks had caused damage to the small boat. John estimated they had 1 minute to swim across since the zombies had been attracted back by the gunshots. But Victor disagreed, suggesting they should turn back. They argue for a while and Victor tells John to hurry up and shoot to get the zombies' attention. Reluctantly, John complied with Victor's request. Victor said, "I'm leaving, so I can live a little longer." John had no choice but to swim back with Victor, feeling like all their efforts had been in vain. John was both worried about Naomi and feeling a sense of loss. He ate a candy given to him by Naomi. Meanwhile, in the previous episode, Morgan and the others were forced to take refuge on the rooftop of a hospital. Althea had lost contact with them while trying to open the generator. Jim, bitten by zombies, was overcome with grief. When Alicia arrived at the accident site, all she found was a pile of ashes. After searching for so long, it seemed like a fruitless endeavor. Alicia doesn't want to get her hopes up anymore. She's going to take Charlie to the beach because Charlie's never been to a beach before. She might as well do something practical. Charlie believed Alicia shouldn't be so disheartened and that they should try to find Morgan and the others in case they needed help. Suddenly, they heard the sound of water, and soon they came across a large lake. Charlie found it strange since the map didn't show any rivers. Alicia assumed it must be due to flooding. Charlie said this is the beach. They should have hope in life. Soon, Charlie found a hat by the water's edge, and Alicia felt a sense of familiarity as she looked at it. Charlie excitedly gestured for Alicia to look ahead, revealing an expression of astonishment on Alicia's face. It was the first time Alicia had smiled in a long time, and there across from them are Victor and John. Victor is lying comfortably on the ground when he hears someone calling out to him. Victor slowly got up and called out loudly to John. They looked at Alicia and Charlie on the other side, the accidental encounter instilling a glimmer of confidence in both parties regarding survival in the apocalypse. They believed that good things would eventually happen. The walkie-talkie on Alicia's belt went off, and the voice of Naomi calling Althea came out. Alicia says hello right away. Morgan and Naomi can't believe they've inadvertently reached Alicia. Alicia informed them that she and Charlie were together and, even more astonishing, that they had just found John and Victor. Naomi became emotional, as she had been worried about John's safety. Morgan, too, displayed a long-lost smile. Alicia informed him that they couldn't communicate at the moment because they were separated by flooding, but she assured him that she would rescue them. The fact that they were still alive was finally some good news. Morgan took the walkie-talkie from Alicia and told her not to come to their location as it was highly unsafe. I made a wrong decision that trapped everyone here, and I don't know if we can escape. Alicia reminded him that he had instructed her to do her best to help others and to learn to trust. She promised that she would rescue John and the others and then come to find them. They had to hold on. Naomi says they have to get Althea out first. Upon hearing some good news, Morgan regained his confidence and prepared to lead them back the way they came. Jim, who had been bitten by zombies, stood on the rooftop, looking down at the scenery filled with zombies. It seemed like he had made a decision. Upon seeing this, Morgan hurried over, attempting to persuade Jim to come down. Jim said, "Do you think I'm going to jump? I'm just looking at those zombies down there, realizing I don't have the ability to kill them myself, but I can pee on them." Morgan informed him that they were preparing to return to rescue Althea and invited Jim to join them. "I can't change the fact that you're going to die soon, but you can decide how you die," Morgan said. At this point, Jim had become despondent and chose to stay alone on the rooftop. Morgan didn't say anything further. They were ready to fight when the lift doors opened, but the fourth floor, which had been filled with zombies before, was unusually quiet at the moment. Morgan struck the ground with his stick, but nothing happened, which was very strange. Morgan approached the stairwell and peered out, only to find a few zombies blocked by collapsed debris in the hallway. Sarah had previously been to the storage room where the generator was located, so she accurately led them there. Near the storage room, they encountered numerous zombie corpses, undoubtedly the result of Althea's kills. Morgan opened the door and used the same method to tap the ground, but it was empty inside, and Althea was nowhere to be found. However, Luciana noticed a message on a bulletin board that read, "Hope you're still alive. My walkie-talkie ran out of battery, and I'm heading towards the freight elevator. If you read this message and find me dead in the corridor, please help me retrieve the tape and keep it for me." Wendell glanced at the generator's fuel tanks, which weren't going to last much longer and would soon lose power again. Morgan prepared to go alone to investigate the freight elevator. A few minutes later, Morgan returned to the storage room and gave a brief update on the situation outside. There was no sign of Althea. Something had happened here, and all the zombies had disappeared. They could bypass the collapsed area and reach the freight elevator, which would take them to the first floor and allow them to escape. Just as they were preparing to leave, Morgan chose to stay behind and said, "Although there are no more zombies inside the building, they are still surrounding the outside. Even if you go down, you won't be able to escape unless someone leads the zombies away. I brought you here, so I'm responsible for getting you out." They wanted to say something, but the overhead lights began to flicker, indicating that the power was running out. With tears in their eyes, they had no choice but to leave. Morgan dragged a zombie corpse back to the rooftop, leaving Jim puzzled about his intentions. On the other side, Alicia and Charlie discovered a boat on top of a car roof while trying to rescue Victor. Just as they were about to retrieve it, gunshots rang out. Alicia quickly took cover with Charlie on the other side of the vehicle. It turned out to be Martha, limping towards them with a gun. Wendell severely injured her with a shot. Martha kept insisting, "You can't help them. I can make you strong." Alicia hasn't met Martha. Looking at the injured Martha, Alicia said, "You're hurt. I can help you." Martha replied, "I don't need any help. I'm powerful." She then fired a few shots at Alicia. Soon after, Martha fell to the ground due to her severe injuries. Alicia got close enough to Martha to observe. Meanwhile, John and Victor, waiting at the shore, faintly heard some sounds. Shortly after, an armored vehicle burst out of the woods and plunged into the water. The The powerful vehicle effortlessly crossed the flooding and stopped in front of Victor. It was Alicia and Charlie. Charlie returned John's hat to him. Of course, Martha was also bound in the vehicle by Alicia. Now their task was to contact Morgan and the others. John picked up the walkie-talkie, and on the other end was Naomi's voice. The lovers hadn't seen each other for a long time and started greeting each other. Naomi informed John that they were currently at the hospital. When they reached the first floor, they were stunned by the sight outside the fence, where countless zombies awaited. They now needed Morgan to take action. Morgan glanced at the cars below. His plan was to use the zombie corpses to create noise by throwing them down. Jim didn't offer any help, so Morgan had to do it alone. He carefully placed the zombies down, then used all his strength to swing the zombies up and then threw it into the distance. The zombies accurately landed on a car, triggering its alarm. Nearby zombies began converging towards the noise. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they escaped and boarded an ambulance. Naomi got on the walkie-talkie and told Morgan to get down here. Morgan replied, "You all should go. The elevator has run out of power." Just then, the car alarm stopped, and the zombies quickly changed direction, heading towards the ambulance. Naomi had no choice but to get on the vehicle, and they drove towards the outskirts of the city. Only Morgan and Jim were left on the roof. One of the reasons Morgan stayed behind was Jim. He felt a great sense of guilt for not being able to rescue him in time. Morgan had already prepared himself to be trapped and die on the rooftop. Though many say Morgan is always a saintly mother, you can always trust him as a teammate. Jim asked Morgan for a favor, saying, "If I turn into a zombie, please end it for me." Morgan couldn't refuse such a request. Just then, Naomi's voice came through the walkie-talkie. Morgan thought they were in trouble again, but Naomi said, "We're coming to rescue you. We won't abandon you." Morgan explained that the elevator had no power, and the stairs were blocked by countless zombies. He didn't want them to risk their lives by coming back for him. Another voice came through the walkie-talkie, and Morgan smiled. It was his friend John. John reassured Morgan, saying, "We won't leave you behind." But Morgan continued to persuade them not to take risks for his sake. Soon, Alicia greeted Morgan over the walkie-talkie, followed by Sarah and Luciana, all encouraging him. Even the most selfish person, Victor, joined in. Morgan looked down and was surprised that they could even get their hands on something like a hydraulic lift. Sarah explained that they found it on their way. Although the vehicle was broken, the hydraulic lift was still functional, so they used an armored car to transport it to their location. The zombies in the distance quickly approached. The three female warriors took charge of intercepting and killing the zombies. Sarah and John controlled the elevator, slowly ascending towards Morgan. Unfortunately, the elevator was 2 floors below Morgan's position. John said there was no other way and asked Morgan if he could find a way to reach the lower floor. Morgan carefully assessed the height and realized that jumping down would be suicidal. Luckily, there was a safety rope fixed on the roof. Morgan fixed the safety rope to the pipe and let Jim go first. Although Jim was bitten by the zombies and had no chance of survival, Morgan refused to give up on him. Jim understood his fate and decided not to leave. Morgan wasted no time and threw the stick down before embarking on his own journey of survival. The people below watched in fear and trepidation. Morgan followed the rope down 2 floors in a row and made it to the balcony without incident. Before Morgan could steady himself, a zombie broke through the glass and lunged at him. Jim was also anxiously watching. Fortunately, Morgan managed to avoid being bitten by the zombies for the time being. However, the zombies were relentless and pushed Morgan to the edge of the balcony. Just as Morgan was about to succumb, gunshots rang out, and he breathed a deep sigh of relief. Sharpshooter John lived up to his reputation. More zombies were converging on their location, but the 3 women warriors bravely held their ground. However, the number of zombies kept increasing, with a distance of 2 meters remaining between Morgan and the elevator. The only option was to jump. Morgan climbed the steps, and everyone below held their breath, knowing that the slightest mistake could be fatal. Morgan swayed his body, gathering his strength, took a deep breath, and leaped. Fortunately, he made it onto the hydraulic elevator unharmed. One such experience was enough. The people below also let out a sigh of relief. The elevator descended slowly. Alicia and the others received the message and prepared to retreat, but the zombies quickly surrounded them, leaving them no choice but to climb onto the elevator to take temporary refuge. They couldn't reach the armored car in this situation. Fortunately, the vehicle was high enough, and Wendell and Charlie inside were temporarily safe. Morgan said they could only clear a path to ensure that everyone made it onto the armored car. Then, Morgan picked up the walkie-talkie and spoke to Wendell in the car. saying that he would jump down to distract the zombies while the others would carry him to the armored car. In critical moments, Morgan could always be trusted. Just then, Jim's voice came through the walkie-talkie. He decided to do something meaningful before turning into a zombie. Jim then talked to Sarah about his exclusive beer recipe. Sarah grabbed a pen and paper and started taking notes. After Jim finished, he took a deep breath and jumped down. 5 seconds later, they heard the sound of a heavy object landing, followed by the blaring of a car alarm. The zombies started moving toward the noise. With his last moments, Jim saved everyone. When they opened the back door of the armored car, they found that Martha had broken the rope and escaped. But now they couldn't care less about her. Running for their lives was the most important thing. On the way, to break the heavy mood, Sarah said, "Let's name Jim's beer and carry it forward." They found everyone they needed to, except Althea. Morgan had become their pillar, and he announced that after finding Althea, they would head to the kingdom. What they don't know is that Martha found Jim's body and wrote the words on his face again, then waited for Jim to turn into zombies.